Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Summer of Sport 2025. This is an ongoing summer-long BookTube event created by Mark at Book Time with Elvis, where we read sports literature, fiction and nonfiction, a type of literature that has an active buying public, but doesn't get talked about all that much on BookTube. Probably for the first reason that comes to your mind, because most book readers aren't exactly sporty people. Could very well be. There could be something to that hypothesis. I have had a blast every time that I have engaged in Summer of Sport. I learn a lot, and I also encounter lots and lots of new writers. But I was thrown off my game at the end of June, and then at the beginning of July, there's all sorts of stuff that's going on. I'm revamping my journal for the new month. I'm revamping my work bookshelf for the new month. I'm revamping my old bookshelf for the month. I'm looking at BookTube events for the month, etc., etc. And because of all that, well, Summer of Sport was lurking in the background. And when my guard was down, I got slammed with gay rugby romance. I got slammed with another gay rugby romance novel. This is Try-Line by Rebecca Rath. I am assuming that all of these books, all of them, are written by gay men in their mid-50s. And I don't think you need much time with any of their pen names before you see that. But I could be wrong. Rebecca Rath might be a real person. This is a gay rugby story. Not really so as you'd notice. Some I've noticed sport romances of any kind, whether it's rugby or anything else. Rugby seems dedicated to baffling me. There are like 50 different kinds of rugby, and they all hate each other. It's like dealing with Christianity. But some sports romance novels, the sport is really prominent and is also given a lot of narrative energy. This is not one of those. This is not one of those at all. This is a story of Jason and Mick, who, when they are just barely squeaking out of puberty, fall in love with each other. Mentally, spiritually, physically, I would say the whole 9 yards, but I don't know what the rugby equivalent is of the whole 9 yards. But then something happens. That relationship is shattered. And when this author shatters a relationship, she well and truly shatters it, because they go 18 years without anything else. Jason becomes a pro rugby player. But again, not so as you'd notice. This isn't really a rugby novel. This is a romance novel with a light skin of rugby attached. And I don't even know that it's a romance novel. I have a feeling that this is playing into a narrative audience that I don't understand at all. Something that might have to do with book talk. I got the distinct impression that there was a whole bunch of code speak going on here that I wasn't getting at all, especially since, absent that code speak, I don't see how anyone could consider this a satisfying book. Jason goes on to be a pro rugby player and to squash his feelings down flat. And Mick marries Jason's sister and has children. And is almost 20 years of normal, stereotypical wedded life. It's all a lie, but it's such an old lie that it feels immovable. And then they come back into each other's lives. And I was expecting, at that point, that this author, you've set the table. There's only one way you can write your way out of this, and that is to have a lot of heartbreak. But that isn't what happens. The chemistry between Jason and Mick is, if anything, extra heightened by how long it's been denied. There are some scenes in this book that very much underscore that. But I don't want to spoil the ending, but there's a whole lot of deception going on here. Every main character is lying in some way or other to each other, to themselves. I had an ending in mind for this book. I thought I knew the only way that even a contemporary romance could end along these lines. Obviously, Jason and Mick would have to be together, and that maybe the best we could hope for is that the people who in their lives, Mick's life especially, that are going to be hurt by that fact will somehow reconcile to it. That's not exactly the ending that I got. The ending that I got, it was done so matter-of-factly that I have to believe, like I said, I have to believe that this is part of an entire new narrative tradition that I know nothing about. Otherwise, that has to be what this author was writing for. Because if you're writing just a normal novel, well, then I don't know what to make of the last third of this book. It wasn't all that good. No character is ever honest with themselves or with anybody else, so I don't need that, but I need that to be addressed, and it isn't. It's taken for granted. So this only barely counted as Summer of Sport, and once again, as every time I am bushwhacked this way, I tell myself, well, okay, you did your time in the try line. Now it's time to move to honest-to-gosh sports literature. And I'm going to do that tonight. I'm going to force myself. I'm not going to let any algorithm push me around. I'm going to force myself to read actual sports literature, something tonight, even if it's a reread, so that maybe I can get a little bit of distance between myself and rugby gay romance. So that's my Summer of Sport report this time around. You turn away for 1 second. But I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.